I'll just hit record.
Okay.
Hey guys, thanks for the time. Obviously, Monster Factory, a great show on Apple TV Plus. Talk about just when you found out that this kind of show is being filmed. Did you kind of have any trepidations of kind of opening up your life? Because, in wrestling, you're used to kind of being in front of crowds and audiences and cameras, but this is kind of a more intimate setting here. So you really need to open up and you have your family involved and things like that.
I thought it was really exciting, honestly, to get a chance to do something like that because I think we share so much of our characters and our performances, but it's kind of fun to be able to show people like the flip side of that or like what goes on backstage and how we are in our real lives day to day. I was excited to, let people get to know me more.
All right. What about you, Bobby?
I was hesitant at first, because I'm so used to like just kind of shielding my personal life for the most part. Um, Bobby Buffet is me to a T, but it's over the top because it's larger than life. On a normal basis, I don't really open up. I don't really talk to people like that because it's just how it was like. It's just how I was raised. So yeah, I mean, it was a crazy experience, kind of changing that. Like everybody knows, I was more vulnerable on like during the recording of this than any other time in my life.
Mhm. Amelia, Mimi, talk about, of course you were going through the process of, a WWE tryout. So all this was happening at the same time. Looking back, what do you think about that time how do you reflect about it today when you look back and see it in real time?
Well, I'm definitely really grateful that I did have the camera crew with me because it's cool to have like extra stuff that I'm able to look back on and reflect on that time. I'm excited to be able to see like the full journey and everything they have recorded. It was a little stressful at that point having a camera crew with you because you're worried about so many things. You're worried about doing good at your tryout, and then you're also worried about making sure you're saying the right things or, giving them enough content while you're there. But I just thought it was super cool to be able to look back on all of it and watch from like someone else's point of view as I go through these things that like I spent so much time working towards. It was really nice.
And, Bobby, one of the great things about this show, I think, is it really shows sacrifice and, it kind of clears up any kind of preconceived notions or that, when you're a big wrestler, you're a big time star immediately and then, nothing, you're, they just think, you're on TV or you're making money and things like that. But, you showed, you have to, make money, pay the bills, things like that on top of everything, kind of get your name out, even kind of the grassroots campaign of handing out flyers and putting yourself out there places. So, talk about just giving that to the audience, maybe who aren't wrestling fans, but also wrestling fans.
Yeah. I think it's imperative really to know, especially if you're in the business, that it is really, really hard to make a living like at this level. So like unless you're like a big superstar or you have a name like and I'm talking nationally, not like locally, regionally, any of that. You have to do something to make ends meet. Like it's a lot on top of like a normal life, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's important for people to know it takes a lot to make it at a high level in this business, a lot of sacrifice.
And it probably comes down to having, the right school and the right coach. Talk about your bond that you guys have had with Danny. It seems like he's always on call for any phone calls you might or any kind of questions you might have. He's always there as a support system, and we're kind of going to.
It definitely like shows off how Dan is your number one go-to for any random questions you have, anything surrounding the business. It's not just about things you do in a match or stuff like that that you'd expect a coach to cover, but it's also, should I take this booking? Is this person reliable to work for? Is this drive worth it for this? Or questions you have about going through a tryout process, which is something you see us work together on in this show. He's really got information on almost everything you need that's even vaguely wrestling related.
Mhm.
Mm.
And, Bobby, you're representing the company, the Monster Factory champion. I mean, that's how you feel the weight on your shoulder there.
It's definitely a lot of pressure, especially at the moment. While we were filming the camera crews, I had to make it literally like my mission not to screw up or do anything stupid. I had to lead by example, but that all kind of comes with the territory at the same time. You know, it was my first title. So it was like kind of learning as I go, but I did feel a big sense of pressure to be disciplined like 24/7.
Mimi, the one thing is, you of course get signed by WWE developmental, but then, things happen, the wrestling business, nature of the beast,
Yeah.
you get let go. But you continue on, you're thriving on, you're continuing your career. Talk about just how emotional that is and just kind of being able to show that and being strong, not only for yourself, but maybe for the students who are seeing your journey, whether it's through the show and then beyond that, and then how you kind of have handled yourself, especially at such a young age when people don't even realize that you're like coming
Yeah.
out of high school and college and teenager and things
Yeah.
like that.
It was definitely a hard moment, right when I got released, because it was something that I'd worked hard for so long, and it was something that I was super proud of. It was definitely like a little bit of an ego deflator for a minute, but at the base of it all, what I really love is pro wrestling. So even though I also loved my job, every day that I get to step in a wrestling ring, regardless of whether it's for a national TV company or, my local indie show, I just feel so lucky to be able to do any wrestling at all. So it was definitely emotional, like you were saying, but honestly, it's taught me how to love like every moment of wrestling even more, because there's so many scary things that you see happen. I think especially when you work for a bigger company, so there's more wrestling around you all the time, is like you see how common it is to like suffer serious injuries, and you see how hard it is to really get those opportunities to get to wrestle on the weekly. So being able to go back down to a lower level, even though my stuff is broadcasted to less people right now, I feel super lucky to be able to wrestle this much right now.
And what kind of impact do you guys think this show is going to have on your careers?
I'm hopeful for like anything, to be honest. I don't want to look too much into um like kind of what one thing can do, like putting your eggs in one basket, so to speak. I think a big thing you guys are gonna see when the show comes out is how much things have actually changed since we've finished filming, if that makes sense. Like we've been done for a couple months now, and it's like I don't wanna seem like I'm stagnant, like I lost a ton of weight. I'm taking more bookings outside, just making my name known, because you just have to keep adapting regardless. Anything could happen in this business. I could have got signed tomorrow before the show. Never know.
Yeah.
You know?
My only hope is just to keep growing my audience. I think that one of the things that this whole experience has taught me is it's really valuable to have a personal fan base, or a fan base that's specific to you, not the companies you work for. So I'm just hoping that by getting more of the personal side of my story out, I'll grow my specific, following or fans or whatever like that.
Hopefully it'll kind of build a new audience in general for wrestling. I think like Danny Cage was mentioning how he wasn't a fan of soccer that much, but then he watched Ted Lasso. So now you
Yeah.
guys are on the same network here. So we'll see what
Yeah.
happens. So you talked about a little bit, but what's your mindset when it comes to the business today? I mean, have been there cases of, maybe it's not worth it for me, or have you ever kind of second guessed it? Maybe a family member's come up to you, or maybe a job opportunity has come up, or talk about just how you've kind of been steadfast with your career and just what's your kind of overall goals in the next couple of months. I mean, as far as places that you haven't worked, or even if it's on the independent scene.
I could go first, I guess. Um, I feel like wrestling in all aspects has like peaks and valleys. There's moments where, I mean, everyone has a little bit of self-doubt at moments, but I don't think there's ever been a time where someone actually like, made me contemplate swaying from this goal. No one thought I would get this far. No one thought I would get this far. Only myself. So I feel like it's just, you know, a culmination of just manifestation, consistency, and discipline. And what was the second part of your question? I forgot.
Just your overall goals the next couple of months. I mean, is there somebody that you're excited to work with that you want to let people know about, or maybe a booking coming up?
Oh yeah, there's a couple. April 8th, I'm at Blood, Sweat, and Tears facing Andy Brown. I've been excited to face Andy Brown for a minute. He's a talented individual. There's a lot of people on the indies that I'd love to work with, Ichiban, but at the same point, my overall goal is to make it like past that. I wanna be signed to a nationally broadcast company or something like that.
Gotcha.
Definitely.
And then as far as the same question for me, I would say nothing's really ever made me question whether or not I should be wrestling, just because wrestling feels so like at home to me that even when it's difficult or when you're making less money than you'd hope to be and you have to do other stuff on the outside, it's just so fun. And I feel like it brings me so much, even when it's not fulfilling other needs, it just brings me so much joy that it's never been something that I've questioned doing. And then as far as stuff coming up, I would just say everywhere, honestly. I try to keep a pretty busy schedule going. I would say some of my favorite stuff that I've been able to do is I'll go up to Wrestling Open, which is based out of Massachusetts, like about once a month or so, and I've had a lot of fun working with them. But I'm at CCW in the next few months. I'm at Pro Wrestling Magic a few times. I've been really enjoying going up there. They have a fun roster. And then, keep your eyes peeled. I'm hoping to be showing up a few other places soon. But as far as future goals, like right now, I'm just riding the waves as they come because I just had a really cool experience. And right now, I'm just kind of letting myself recoup and enjoy wrestling.
Lastly, just last question, just what's the best advice you've ever been given from somebody who had made it?
Ooh, this is easy. So Damian Priest, when he was still coaching at the Monster Factory, this is like one of the only things he's ever said to me. He was like, "Don't be like me, thinking, I have time passes me by, and then and then I'll end up with regret." So I think I took that to heart the last couple years, definitely more than anything. And I think I'm holding steady to his advice.
I'll go with also a Damian Priest piece of advice, but it's a little bit of a funnier one. Keep your dang hair out of your face. I was there for my first practice match and I wrestled with my hair down. It's the only time I've ever done it because after his advice, I was like, I'm not doing this. Like I always have at least part of it up. And he was like, I can't see you selling at all because when your hair is, all like this, it's like no one's going to be able to see whether you're in pain, whether you're starting to fight back. So ever since then, I've always wrestled with at least like a little braid in to pull some of it back out of my face or a little bit of it up, because for fans to be able to connect with you, they need to be able to see your facial expressions.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. Congrats on the show. I think a lot of people are going to get a lot from it. A lot of lessons learned and things that involve wrestling, like don't judge a book by its cover, chasing your dream, making sacrifices, not letting people or anything kind of get in that way, and kind of appreciating things. So many things. So everyone definitely check out the Monster Factory premiering on Apple TV Plus very soon. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.